U.S. government greenlights human-animal hybrids. Hillary's hacked emails might have gotten an Iranian nuclear scientist killed, and more American military hardware winds up in the hands of the Islamic State. This is SkyWatchTV for Monday, August 8th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, Delta Airlines has resumed flights. They began several hours after a catastrophic computer failure grounded planes all over the world. A power outage in Atlanta early Monday morning being blamed for knocking out systems everywhere. Delta suspended all flights not already in the air. Now, Delta is the world's second largest airline, which begs the question, don't they have backup generators on that computer system? Meanwhile, the Washington Post is deploying a team of computers to write stories about the Olympics. The Post using computers with homegrown software to automatically generate hundreds of real-time news reports about the Olympics. The idea is to use artificial intelligence to generate stories that are heavy on data, things like scores and medal counts, to free up human reporters to write more interesting and complex stories. The digital projects manager for the paper, how 20th century, the Post says they're not trying to replace human reporters, just free them up to do things computers can't do. In Pakistan, a suicide bomber killed at least 70 people early Monday. The attack hit a hospital in the southwestern province of Baluchistan, where people had gathered to mourn a prominent lawyer who'd been shot and killed earlier in the day. Over the weekend in Belgium, a man shouting Allahu Akbar, God is greater, or Allah is greater, attacked two female police officers with a machete. This happened Saturday afternoon outside the main police station in Charleroi. That's a town of about 200,000 people, 30 miles or so south of Brussels. The attacker was shot dead by a third officer. One of the injured policewomen slightly injured, but the first woman attacked will require plastic surgery. Google is coming under fire for deleting the label Palestine from its Maps application. Palestinian journalists have called the move an Israeli scheme to establish Israel's name as a legitimate state, while obliterating Palestine forever. Some might just call that an acknowledgement of reality. Russia admits that the Hezbollah drone that invaded Israeli airspace a few weeks back was actually theirs. An unknown drone flew about 4 kilometers into Israeli airspace from Syria on July 17th. The IDF tried to shoot it down, aimed a couple of Patriot surface-to-air missiles at it, and then the Israel Air Force took a shot with an air-to-air missile. Missed all 3 times. Drone returned to Syria unharmed. The Israeli newspapers reported over the weekend that Russia has admitted that it was theirs, and they blamed it on human error. The Times of Israel newspaper suggested that Russia may have been testing Israel's air defenses. Is President Obama admitting that Donald Trump was right about something? Last Thursday, the president said that the Pentagon, that the U.S. must try to work a deal with Russia to coordinate military operations in Syria against the Islamic State. Now, American diplomats aren't crazy about the idea. As we reported back in June, 51 U.S. diplomats sent an internal memo to Secretary of State John Kerry, remarkable document, calling for military strikes against the Assad regime in Syria. Even more remarkable when you consider that Russia's military is still there backing the Assad regime, which means that attacking Assad pretty much means having to attack the Russians. Mr. Trump has called for more talking with Russia and less saber rattling. And speaking of ISIS, it appears they've captured more U.S. weaponry, this time in Afghanistan. Militants in Kabul linked to the Islamic State released a video, or photos rather, over the weekend that they claim of weapons that they claim belonged to U.S. soldiers. The photos went public on Saturday, showing an American rocket launcher, grenades, and other gear not normally used by Afghan troops. They also showed a close-up of ID cards for a U.S. Army soldier, Specialist Ryan Larson. One bit of good news, U.S. military command in Kabul said Larson had not been captured and was still on a duty status with his unit. Now, this is a little awkward. Israel's intelligence organization Shin Bet says that Hamas has been diverting tens of millions of dollars from a U.S.-based Christian charity to rebuild its terror infrastructure. Mohammed Halabi, who was the operations manager for World Vision's operations in Gaza, was arrested by Israeli security personnel on June 15th. He's accused of funneling about 60% of the charity's resources in Gaza to Hamas. That's about $7.2 million a year. Israel's investigation revealed that Halabi was recruited to infiltrate World Vision for Hamas in 2005. Now, World Vision denies the allegations and is defending Halabi. The aid organization receives most of its support from the United Nations and Western governments as one of the largest humanitarian organizations in the world. Now, we told you last week about the secret flight to Tehran back in January to deliver plane loads or pallet loads of cash to the Iranian government, $400 million in all, which apparently was ransom for 4 Iranian Americans being held by the government of Iran. Those men were released as soon as the cash had arrived in Tehran. Now, the Iranian government is calling the payment ransom, and President Obama has been telling us for months that we can trust the government in Iran, so we'll take them at their word. The money was ransom. But let's put that aside, because that's actually a distraction from the more important point here. The money was paid to the government in Iran in Swiss francs and in euros, as well as other currencies, because we'll let President Obama tell you because why.
Brings me to my last point. The reason that we had to give them cash is precisely because we are so strict in maintaining sanctions, and we do not have a banking relationship with Iran, that we couldn't send them a check. And we could not wire the money.
Now, did President Obama ever stop to think why we couldn't just cut a check? If he didn't think to ask, it's because he probably already knew the answer and he didn't like the answer. What is that answer, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. The answer is that under U.S. law, that payment, whether you call it ransom or not, is a felony. We do not have a banking relationship with Iran because of sanctions against the government of Iran, the sanctions that President Obama mentioned in that video clip, which are in place because in 1995, President Bill Clinton invoked federal laws that deal with national emergencies caused by foreign aggression. Clinton concluded that Iran was a state sponsor of international terrorism. This was before Iran sponsored the 1996 bombing of the Khobar Towers in Saudi Arabia that killed 19 American servicemen. That state of emergency has been renewed by American presidents every year since 1995, which means that President Obama has been renewing that state of emergency caused by Iran every year since 2009. And because that state of emergency is in effect, anti-terror sanctions against Iran are in effect, the ones that prevent our having a banking relationship with Iran, as President Obama himself noted during that press conference. So what he was actually saying was this: we had to go to extraordinary lengths to deliver pallet loads of foreign currency to Iran, not because sending them US dollars is illegal, but because sending funds of any kind to Iran is illegal under US law. And by the way, so is providing material support to terrorists, which, according to the president's renewal of the state of emergency against Iran, that $400 million most certainly is. So forget the argument over whether we're going to call that payment ransom or not. However you color it, it's still a violation of federal law, even if you're the president. And while we're talking about Iran, we bring this to your attention. A nuclear scientist who claimed he was abducted by the CIA has been executed by Iran. Shahram Amiri disappeared while he was on a religious pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia in 2009. Iranian authorities alleged at the time that he'd been kidnapped by Saudi, Israeli, or U.S. intelligence. Amiri reappeared a year later in Washington, D.C. at the Pakistani embassy, asking to speak to the official in charge of the Iranian interests section. Iran doesn't have an embassy in the U.S., no diplomatic relations. Amiri claimed that he'd been abducted and interrogated by the CIA under duress and forced to reveal Iranian nuclear secrets. U.S. officials claimed that he had defected on his own in exchange for a promise of $5 million for those nuclear secrets. Well, U.S. officials said he was free to return to Iran, and he did, received a hero's welcome in Tehran on July 15th of 2010. However, he was arrested by Iranian police the following spring outside his home and charged with treason, tried in secret, convicted, and apparently hanged. His family over the weekend confirmed that they'd received his body from the Iranian government. But the strange twist to this story is that on Sunday, in an interview, Arkansas Senator Republican Tom Cotton said that Amiri was mentioned in a number of emails found on Hillary Clinton's private unsecured email server. Those emails date to about 9 days before he returned to Iran and was subsequently arrested. Now, it's not clear if those emails actually led to the government in Iran arresting him, trying him, and executing him. But it does, at very least, raise questions about what other information might be in the hands of foreign governments that they pulled off of Hillary Clinton's unsecure private email server. And while this may be a coincidence, I'm not really much of a coincidence theorist. So again, I bring this to your attention just so you can add these data points into the mix as you try to decide what this all means. The lead attorney in an anti-Clinton fraud case was found dead on his bathroom floor by his girlfriend last week, Tuesday. On July 2nd, Sean Lucas served the Democratic National Committee with papers in a fraud class action suit. He was representing supporters of Senator Bernie Sanders against the Democratic Party. Now, this is the third mysterious death linked to the Democratic Party, the Democratic National Committee, and or Hillary Clinton in the last 3 months. On July 8th, 27-year-old DNC staffer Seth Rich was murdered in Washington, D.C. His killer took nothing, left his wallet, watch, and phone. There are rumors that he was on his way to talk to the FBI about corruption within the Democratic Party. And Mike Flynn, the big government editor for Breitbart News, his final article was published in late June, titled "Clinton Cash, Bill Hillary Created Their Own Chinese Foundation in 2014. Flynn reportedly died of a heart attack in Washington, D.C. shortly after that was published, at the age of 48. Now, I know that happens. Again, just bringing it to your attention for your consideration. In other news, the U.S. government is looking into funding research into human-animal chimeras. The Department of Health and Human Services last Thursday said labs mixing human stem cells with animal embryos could soon get taxpayer funding. HHS is requesting public comment on its plan to begin public funding of this work, which it said could result in creating animals with human organs for transplant, among other things. Are Torah codes pointing to a devastating comet impact next week? Well, within the next 6 weeks, rather. Rabbi Meditayu Glazerson has published new Torah code tables linking Nibiru, a destructive astronomical body, and the dates September 23rd and 24th. Now, I should point out that earlier this year, Rabbi Glazerson published other tables that suggested Nibiru would be arriving between March 24th and April 30th, and of course that didn't happen. But the rabbi, in a second video, published about a week ago, said that the reference to Nibiru could indicate a punishment for President Obama and the United States for pressuring Israel to give up settlements. And another astronomical body in the news causing some distress. The asteroid named Bennu is the target of a NASA mission scheduled to launch next month. The probe NASA's launching is called OSIRIS-REx, or Osiris the King. It's a really convoluted acronym that I won't bore you with, but I find this interesting because Bennu is the name of an ancient Egyptian god, another ancient Egyptian god, this one linked to the sun, creation, and rebirth, which could be the inspiration for the phoenix myth in Greek mythology. The Bennu bird represented the Ba, or the personality, of the sun god Ra, the Ba of Ra. And then its call called creation into existence. The link to Osiris is because of its symbol as a symbol of rebirth. And so, again, we've got this Egyptian mythology thing going on here, which I'm sure is just a coincidence. Nobody at NASA actually planning all this out, right? OSIRIS-REx is supposed to meet Bennu in 2018 and take samples of its surface before returning to Earth in 2023. There is a chance that when Bennu passes by Earth in 2035, its orbit may be deflected enough. It's a small chance, but there's a chance that if it hits a so-called keyhole, its orbit could be deflected enough to hit the Earth in 2185. Now, astronomers say that a space rock needs to be at least 0.6 of a mile across to be catastrophic on impact. Bennu measures about 1,600 feet across, which is less than half that size. So don't get too concerned. This week on SkyWatch TV, we continue our discussion with Dr. Michael Heiser, as long as we're talking about ancient mythologies and cosmologies. What do we know of the mysterious Watchers who reportedly, according to the Book of Enoch, descended at Mount Hermon in southern Syria and created the Nephilim? We actually know more than you think. You see, the ancient Mesopotamians knew about these Watchers. Dr. Heiser, author of the excellent book, The Unseen Realm, explains, and you'll see this program tonight on the Victory Television Network down in Arkansas and around the Memphis area. The program, by the way, also streams live to the internet on the Victory Television Network's website. And you'll find that link on the SkyWatch TV website, skywatchtv.com. Tomorrow, 4 different locations where you can see it. Victory Television Network again on TV in Sandusky and Kalamazoo, Michigan, and then coast to coast on the Christian Television Network. That's DirecTV Channel 376, Dish Network Channel 267, the Glory Star Satellite Channel 117. On Wednesday, coast to coast on the Cornerstone Network and on World Harvest Television, and then WLLA TV again in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And then Saturday, Victory Television Network and WCLF TV in Tampa, St. Pete. All of those dates and times posted at skywatchtv.com, along with links to their live web streams. In case those networks aren't broadcast in your area, you can find the live web streams there. Just click the link in the top menu bar that says channels at skywatchtv.com. And web exclusive this week is also Dr. Michael Heiser talking about the origin of demons. Are they fallen angels? Are they something else? Dr. Heiser explains. Talk to Josh Peck and myself, and you'll find that only at skywatchtv.com and the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku. And we also, for your convenience, present a portable version of SkyWatch TV. That is the SkyWatch TV podcast. It is an audio-only version of everything we produce here at SkyWatch TV. You'll find the link and the instructions on downloading those audio files to your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or other portable device at skywatchtv.com. Just look for the link in the top menu bar that says podcast. Your support is key to us here at SkyWatch TV to continue presenting this cutting-edge information. In the month of August, a couple of additions to your reference library: A Place at the Table, 40 Days of Solidarity with the Poor, and Powerful Moments in the Presence of God. If you live in the U.S. or Canada, we'll send those books to you in exchange for your donation of $20 or more. For information and to donate, log on to skywatchtv.com/donate. And of course, you can help us with just a click of the mouse. Click like, click share, click subscribe, wherever you find us online here, Facebook, Twitter, and of course our YouTube channel. And you'll find my stuff online here, my website, Twitter, Facebook, and my YouTube channel, where we are posting interviews from the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference. And also this week, a special interview with Tom Dunn. He's the director of a new film on satanic ritual abuse called Detestable. You'll find that at my YouTube channel there. And if you've got comments, questions, or suggestions, please send those to dgilbert@skywatchtv.com. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV. SkyWatch TV can help you break through the barriers of space and time and get a valuable reference library at the same time. Here's what I mean. Maybe you weren't able to attend the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference in July. That's a problem of space. Or maybe you were at the conference, but you had to choose. You could only watch one presentation at a time. No way to see all 53 presentations in real time. That's a problem of space and time. But thanks to modern digital technology, those barriers mean nothing. We can take you from your living room in the future to Colorado Springs in the past to watch all 53 presentations, many of which were recorded at the same time. And that's not even including more than 24 one-on-one interviews with all the speakers who were present. When you pre-purchase the complete DVD set from the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference from SkyWatchTV, you'll get all 53 presentations recorded live, plus the 24 one-on-one interviews, and we will add the 5-volume Researcher's Library of Ancient Text. That alone is a $150 value. Your cost, $149.95 plus shipping and handling. This is a limited time offer. Your opportunity to travel from your living room in the future to Colorado Springs in the past and watch all 54 presentations from the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference without ever leaving your comfy chair. Time and space, no problem for SkyWatch TV. Order now by calling 844-750-4985 or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.